Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's webinar, Transform Planning and Scheduling in Tyre Industry. Before we start our webinar, I would like to give you a quick introduction on EDS technologies and our association with Dassault Systems. EDS Technologies is the largest engineering and enterprise solution provider in India. With over 2 decades of experience in various industries, we enable companies in aerospace, automotive and supply chain, industrial machinery, high-tech and electronics, railways, infrastructure, consumer packaged goods, engineering service providers, defense and research verticals to achieve their business goals. EDS Technologies, established in 1995, is headquartered in Bengaluru. The company operates with its direct presence in 11 cities, including Chennai, Coimbatore, Gurgaon, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Kolkata, Noida, Ahmedabad, and Nagpur. It has the largest customer base in the Indian market in PLM, ERP, and visual simulation business, and have successfully partnered with more than 1,500 customers in various industry verticals. EDS Technologies has established a privileged position in manufacturing marketplace today and partnered with many global key players like Dassault Systems, bringing in most complete solutions for any size and type of the company. We have long association with Dassault Systems and are their platinum partners. In partnership with Dassault Systems, we help you create unique and disruptive innovations thanks to rich portfolio of industry solution experiences, which is unique to each industry, leveraging products such as Kedia, Delvia, Simulia, Innovia, and Geovia. Today, we present you this webinar on Transform Planning and Scheduling in Tyre Industry. We have good presence in Tyre industry with most of the leading tire companies in India using Dassault Systems solutions and served through EDS Technologies. To talk on this subject, we have Mr. Gurudatta from Dassault Systems with 17 plus years of experience in digital manufacturing, consulting and services for automotive and aerospace industry in BIW simulation, assembly simulation, process engineering, ergonomics, 3D layout planning, facility and analysis for capacity planning. He would be taking us through the webinar today. Thank you and over to Gurudatta. During the webinar, in case of any queries, please post your queries in the chat box. We would address them at the end of the session. Please raise your hand and leave a message in case of any technical difficulties. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana. Good afternoon, all. My name is Gurudatta. I am a solution consultant for Dassault Systems. Today, I will be just taking this session on planning and production scheduling. So this is a brief agenda what I would be covering today. I will just give a brief introduction, then getting into the portfolio landscape and a manufacturing industry has. Then we will just talk about some tire manufacturing processes and their challenges. Then how any industry is getting transformed digitally in the area of planning and scheduling. Then we will just touch upon why a planning solution is a must to have for any industry. And after which we will just get into the details of the product. So we are Dassault Systems are into PLM solutions and 3D, as Archana has already given a brief about the portfolio. I would not touch more on that. But we ourselves call as a scientific company because we do a lot of research, and we have across a lot of R&D teams working across different labs in different segments. and we have around 15,000 people across 120 odd nations. So our customer base is quite huge, 210,000 customers with 25 million users, and we work with partners in the different technologies. Maybe it is services, support, sales, consulting, education, or research. So we are a 3.1 billion company with an operating margin of 30%. So this is what a brief portfolio of industries what we cater, 12 different segments, majorly into automotive, aerospace, marine, industrial equipments, high tech, consumer goods, consumer package, and life sciences. And we have a presence across the globe. You can see different logos across different industries. Okay, so giving a brief about a portfolio in any organization, you can see you have different departments, different functions working in different areas. So we have our solutions catering to all the functions, right from engineering to manufacturing and supply chain. So our today's discussions will be around the supply chain segment, and with respect to master planning and detailed planning and scheduling. So this is could be your typical tire manufacturing process, where you have, say, a lot of raw materials, and the main ingredients could be your rubber, could be a main ingredient, and there are different stages. You have your research, you have your developing and mixing material, then you get into design, manufacturing, and quality. So when we say a manufacturing, there are different stages. So it could be compound mixing, compound preparation, tire building, curing, and inspection. So what could be the typical challenges in your day-to-day manufacturing? So today's market is quite fluctuating. So you have new demands coming, new requests coming, new orders coming from different customers, and you need to answer the customer at what level of uh, takt time you can give these deliveries. So the other is you have pressure to reduce the cost because of competitive market, and you need to shorten your delivery cycles. Okay, so even the complexity of the tires are getting increased, because a lot of automotives are coming into different models, different varieties, and the competition is so much, so that you should address the different conditions in the market. So what are the difficulty when you come to a production planning and scheduling in a typical manufacturing scenario? So you have, say, a new product which is going to come, and you need to deliver it at a time where the customer is requesting you to give. At the same time, you have different types of products running in the same manufacturing shop, and different kinds of customers will be approaching you. So how can you address all these new challenges? There is a new product which is going to come. You have to use the same facility to manufacture this, as well as to maintain the existing one, and some of the forecast which is coming from your supply chain. So how will you improve your on-time deliveries? How will you manage your inventories? How will you increase your productivity in the shop floors? So all these are some of the typical challenges. So typically, how the planning was in the earlier stages, like before we get into this digital era, that was like a paper-based planning or a board-based planning. So people used to plan in Excel sheets or papers where it was very difficult to maintain a track of all the activities, what is happening in the production shop. So as and when the day progresses, the era progresses, people went into Excel-based planning, where you can see, yes, Excel gives varieties of options for you to maintain the records. So the challenges what an organization face with Excel is typically a non-collaborative system. People were not able to collaborate in a better fashion, so they started using the tools, digital tools, and this technologies what we come across is a agile way of manufacturing, so where you can have more flexibility based on the market demands. So we have a survey from LNS Research where it shows like 53% of the companies are saying that they need the production and planning tool for addressing their day-to-day challenges. So why it is a must to have? Say 20% of the customers is waiting for an answer from you within an hour. So when a customer gives a order or he inquires for an order, he wants an answer very quick, because in turn he will be having multiple options. So you need to answer him at a very fast rate. Okay, and there are multiple plants now. You can design anywhere and manufacturing anywhere. So you have your plants at different locations, maybe in one geo, or it could be in multiple geos. So all the communication, what you want to analyze and where you want to put your production plan, or where you want to execute the order, is very key. The information from these locations is very important. So these tools will help you in managing those informations, the right informations, and help you in addressing these some of the customer keys. Okay, so any organizations will have a typical follow a difficult decision making pyramid. It could be in a short term, mid term, or a long term. Whenever a new product is getting launched, there will be like some of the global planning and the sales forecast is done, based on which you do the procurement planning, your production planning, then you get into a little detailed out for your executions. So the first is the budget for the new product, then you get into sales and operations planning, then master production scheduling, then get into a detailed scheduling. So what items or the product what we are going to see covers these two areas, specifically the master production scheduling and the detailed scheduling. So usually the sales and operation planning will be on a long term horizon. Then you have a midterm and the short term horizons in any organizations. So when you say any typical organizations will have an ERP where they manage the work orders or the MRPs and the inventories. So the typical scope what the product lies is into the master planning and production planning. So you could be having some questions like there is a SAP module which is APS, which could be how do we cover this. So some of the questions we can take at the end. If you have anything, I think we have 10-15 minute slots for question and answers. We can take it there. So Autumns is the product, and what it does is it has a finite and infinite capacity planning, which will take your manufacturing constraints into the account. You have, say, a breakdowns, you have your labor constraints, you have your machine constraints. So all these constraints are taken into account, and it's an agile way of planning. So let's get into a brief into the details of this product. So basically what we cover is the three optimization engine. One is the load leveling, then you get into your sequencing, and then you get into a flow synchronization. So load leveling consists of your capacity planning and your mid-term and long-term MPS. So basically this covers whether your existing capacity is enough or not, what is that you want to outsource, or whether you will be able to manage your production based on your existing capacities. Then you have sequencing, like how should you load your work orders in what sequence so that your resources are utilized at the maximum extent. So all your setup times is also taken into account. Then your synchronizations. So if you have a different plants and the product goes from one plant to another, so these synchronization is taken care, and you have bill of materials, what is to be produced. All these are taken care into flow synchronization module. So as I said, it will consider your constraints. Constraints could be on your machine, labor, or it could be your raw material supplies, your inventories. So you will be having your some of the bottlenecks issues will be also considered. And what if scenarios. It's like you create a multiple what if scenarios to see how you want to load your production shop. So in a sense, like you can move some of the work orders into different machines and predict which is the best way or which is the best method to load my production shop. And in fact, yes, it is a collaborative tool where you can collaborate with different stakeholders. So this is a typical workflow where any industry would follow the process, like it starts with the process plan and get into the optimization of sequencing, define a work plan, then link your resources. It could be your staff or machines. Then you get, say, as demand expected capacity versus what is the demand which is required. Then you need to balance your workload, then analyze and simulate. So typical area what we address is from here. So you have your existing capacity and the demand. So how would you like to address it? What you want to produce and in what quantity you want to produce. So this is typically a balancing of your labors, your labor constraints and your machine constraints. So here what we can get is you have say an initial requirement of your orders, you have your orders in hand, and then this tool will give a validated requirement based on all the stocks and the production status. So how much is the stock we need to cover and how much is the stock which we need to maintain. So at the bottom end, you can see a typical one product, how the stock is varying in different months. So for example, OR25 in February, it is reaching 62, then it is dropping in the subsequent months. So when you plan your order for 6 months horizon, you will be able to see that this product's raw materials could be get into a shortage. You need to maintain or you need to order your raw materials at the right time to manage this. Then you have your capacity for workers, your skills, some of the labors which is tagged to a machines if they are not present, or based on your existing worker capacities, it gives a prediction saying that if you want to execute these orders, you will be sufficient or you will fall short of the resources. So typically if you see there is a in the month or in the week 8, you can see a typical shortfall of the labor. So you can do a load labeling here to manage your resources. So this is how you can just eliminate the labor requirement or the labor crunch which you are going to face. So next what we do is the balance of the workload. So how do you want to balance your line? How you want to adjust your work orders in different resources? So typically what you can do is say you have a load for 6 months time and you are scheduling it in the tool. It predicts like you will be running out of the capacity in certain areas. If you see, it gives different ranges in green, orange and red. So where you get an indication saying that this particular machine or this particular resources will be overutilized. Then you have your finite and infinite capacities. So once you get an indication saying that these resources are not enough, or you want to go for a finite capacity scheduling, so the tool itself will balance out your overload and uh, arrives or it loads your different work orders in different resources such that the utilization and the resources are well utilized. So what to produce and on which resource you want to produce. So you can even get these are the different work orders which has to be loaded on these particular machines on this particular date. It could be a week wise or month wise of the plan. So different work orders can be loaded, can be seen, the different setup times can be considered. So we have different criterias based on company to company. So the engine will consider the criterias which you are applied for the scheduling purpose. So for example, if you see here, there are 99 criterias on your left side, out of which you can pick. You want your scheduling based on the minimum work order lead time, or you want to do a scheduling based on your start date, or you want to schedule based on the residence time. So different criterias you can apply and run the engine. Whereas when you want to do a forward scheduling, or whether you want to do a backward scheduling, forward scheduling is nothing but you schedule from today and get the delivery date. Backward scheduling is you know the delivery date and you will arrive at a start date. So then once you do this, you have your breakdowns into the pictures. So this tool will show you the impact of whatever breakdowns, whether it is planned or some of the breakdowns which are coming suddenly. So the tool automatically shifts the work orders based on this breakdowns. So you can see here one of the machines which is down for 3 days, the work orders will get shift automatically. Then when you are doing a balanced plan, what you can do is even you create different scenarios for your planning. So you have, say, based on different criterias, you save different scenarios, and you can get the different KPIs analyzed. You have, say, around 8 scenarios with different KPIs. Which is the best scenarios which you can schedule or which you can go ahead with is what you can decide. And this is keeps changing. Every organization, sometimes they plan weekly or daily based on the business they carry. So the other one is like you can even predict. Now you're running your production in 2 shifts, and you can see here the plan, and you want to know how an extra shift can be considered to reduce your delay in the orders. So this is how you can just predict and do different scenarios, do different what if scenarios. You can increase your capacity, see your resource load, and plan efficiently. So even in your inventory optimizations, you can get a chart out of this tool in which month your inventories are going out of stock. So if you want any alert saying that this is my minimum stock and maximum stock, so the software will throw the alerts. So we have the tool which is integrated with all the ERPs in any organizations. So we have almost around 150 plus ERP integration available. So you can directly connect with your ERPs where the routings are being fetched from. So typically if an organization is using your existing BOM in SAP and the routings in SAP, we can still connect it and get started. So this tools comes in basically 3 modules. One is the production scheduler. Then you have your manufacturing planner for your load and capacity planning. Scheduler for your sequencing of the work orders on different resources, and the synchronized resource planner is for your multi-level BOM synchronization. So you have level 2 or level 3 BOM, and you want to generate the work orders automatically based on this BOM, so you can use a synchronized resource planner. Apart from this, you have the integration with your ERP and SAP. It is an adapters. So we are SAP certified with tight integration with SAP HANA. So these are few customer base. So we have our customers in almost all segments. When it comes to the tire industry, it is the Michelin, the Bridgestone, and we are also now maybe we are close this quarter with Goodyear. So I'll run a small video. Okay, so what are the key benefits what you can get out of these things is like, one is you will have the visibility about your production shop. You can give your customers the right kind of information about the delivery dates. On the production side, it reduces the lead time for this product. And yes, on the inventories, it is a subsequent help what any organization will get. If you reduce your WIPs or inventories, it is a big savings to any organizations. So this tool will help you to manage your inventories, and in the same time you can even see your increase in the throughput and your utilization of the machines. So what I'll do is I'll just play one small video which is specific to a tire industry, where you can see the tools which is being used. So this is a simple you can say a production plan for a tire industry. If you see on your left hand side, there is a tread, side, belt, different kinds of equipments, and on your right hand side it is the work orders loaded on these machines from this time to this time. So here it is optimizing the setup time, so it will plan accordingly the different work orders, how it wants to combine, so that your setup time is less. Then you will have a traceability of these parts or these work orders, how they are connected. in which work orders will get loaded in what sequence. Basically, this is like you're seeing the bomb. So you have your workforce calendars, how each machine is getting loaded at what time, how many parts are getting processed. So you'll see you can just click on any of these work orders. You will get which is the work order, who is the customer, when is the delivery date, and this all information is readily available. So now here is a simple scenario to manage these delays. If there are some delays which are coming into account, how you can use these tools to manage those. So basically, when a new order comes, you can see some of the delays which are impacting your production. So how you can minimize those? How you can say that, okay, I'll be able to complete within the given specific time. So these are like the 5 work orders are getting delayed because of a new introduction, and you can just try different alternatives to move these operations, and it follows the subsequent operations and it adjusts accordingly, and then it gives a proper plan to, you have seen that it has been adjusted accordingly, so there are no more delays. So this tool, once you have your SAP connected, you can fetch the information, the BOM information or the routing information and the inventory information. So the work orders which you get has to be created or taken from the SAP, and you schedule. You can see different informations based on the different criterias, how much could be the delays, what could be your inventory which is going out of stock, and how you need to manage these inventories. You have your proper production plans, manage the shortage of raw materials, etc. And whatever the constraints which was populated, the 99 constraints, so company to company the process will be different. Somewhere you have a batch process into pictures, you have ovens. So based on the different manufacturing processes, we can build the constraints. Okay, so that is what that is all what I have right now. So we can take up questions from anyone.
Thank you, Gurudata. Thank you very much for the great session. So if you have any questions, you can just post it on over the chat box. I can read them out for you, and Gurudata is here to answer it right away. wind up the webinar. But then you are most welcome to get back to us at any point of time, even after the webinar. So thank you so much, Guru Datta. It was a great session. We hope all our attendees have got benefited and have had a huge key takeaways from this session. We thank you all for attending the webinar. In case of any further queries, oh, okay, Guru Datta, are you here? We have got one query.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
So, Mr. Abhishek Kar from Mr. Abhishek Kar has posted a query saying like to implement or to introduce in a tire manufacturing process, what extra preparation required other than the software?
Okay. So there is, if at all, there is an SAP which is already there in any organizations. So you have some information already in SAP. We can get that information. Else, the process, the bill of materials, and the routing is the only thing which we need to build here. And the typical time frame for implementation could be around 2 to 3 months, based on the size of the organization.
Mr. Abhishek, I hope you can answer your query. If you have any other further queries, you can definitely post them there on the chat box. I hope you can answer. If you are up for next question, Mr. Prithviraj Desai has one more
Your
query.
voice is not audible, Archana. Can you just be aloud?
Uh, now, hello.
Yeah, yeah, Archana, read out the question.
Yeah, as you mentioned about planning based on delays considered, does your simulation consider the internal logistics into account for proper production?
The logistics time is nothing but we can create it as a transfer activity. So the transfer time we need to enter, say from one machine to another or one location to another. So that logistics can be modeled as a process for these kinds of studies.
Mr. Prithviraj, I think it has answered your query. Yeah, Mr. Prithviraj has one more question. So,
Your Archana, your voice is feeble, Archana.
is it audible now, Gurudata?
Yeah, I think you are away from the mic.
No, I am right in front of it. So it's a small
Okay.
question.
Ah,
Mr. Prithviraj is saying, so is there no inbuilt model available?
is there
No inbuilt model is available for that?
for the logistics one?
Yeah.
No, no, no. There is nothing. See, this is nothing but all your activities in the manufacturing. You need to build that as a process library. So your logistics could be built as a transfer time as an activity or the transfer process, and there you can give as a activity.
Okay. Okay. So Prithviraj sir has no more questions. He has mentioned like doubts and clear and thank you for that. So
Okay.
if you have any other queries, please post them over the chat box. Mr. Gurudata is here to answer them right away. Okay then. So if you are not having any queries right now, then we can have conclusion for this. In case of any further queries, you can always get back to us and write us at marketing@radiustechnologies.com or it to me at archana.plr and EDS Technologies. Thanks Gurudata, again it was a great session. We thank you all for attending this.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you Gurudata. This webinar is recorded and will be made available shortly on our website for viewing. Stay tuned for our updates for upcoming webinars.